I'm standing in my bedroom right now with my phone in my hand, staring at a text from someone my brother would literally lose his mind over, and I just realized I'm in love with the one person I was never ever supposed to even talk to. His name is Chris. And my brother Joseph hates him more than anyone else in the entire world. I know how this sounds. I know exactly how messy and complicated and absolutely insane this is. But here's the thing. I didn't plan this. I didn't wake up one day and decide to fall for my brother's enemy. It just happened. And now I'm in so deep that I can't imagine my life without him. Let me explain how I got here. 3 months ago, I didn't even know Chris existed. I mean, I'd heard the name. Joseph said it like it was a curse word basically every other day, but I'd never actually met him. Joseph's 18, a senior like me, and he's been obsessed with being valedictorian since freshman year. Perfect GPA, president of 3 clubs, captain of the debate team. He's the golden child, the one everyone expects to give the graduation speech and get into every Ivy League school he applies to. And apparently, there's this one guy from Westbrook High, our crosstown rival school, who's been beating him at everything for the past year. That guy is Chris. They compete at regional quiz bowl tournaments. Chris's team always wins. They both applied for this prestigious summer research program. Chris got in, Joseph didn't. They're both trying to get recruited for this elite football showcase camp that only takes 20 players from the entire state. Chris got his invite last month. Joseph's still waiting. So Chris became the villain in Joseph's story, the enemy, the competition, the person standing between Joseph and everything he's worked for his entire life. I heard about Chris constantly, at dinner, in the car, during study sessions. Chris Martinez got a perfect score on the SAT. Chris Martinez won the regional debate championship. Chris Martinez is probably going to steal my valedictorian spot even though he doesn't even go to our school. I started to resent Chris too, just from hearing about him so much. And then I met him. It's a Tuesday afternoon and I'm at this coffee shop near the community college where I take an art class. I'm a senior at Central High, and I'm trying to build a portfolio for college applications, so I spend a lot of time there sketching between classes. I'm sitting at my usual corner table, completely focused on this drawing of hands. Hands are impossible, by the way, and I'm about to give up when someone bumps my table hard and my coffee goes everywhere. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," this voice says, and I look up, ready to be annoyed, and I just freeze. He's tall, probably 6'2", with dark brown hair that's a little messy like he's been running his hands through it while studying, and these intense hazel eyes that make my stomach do this weird flip. He's wearing a Westbrook High hoodie and jeans, and he's holding a coffee cup in one hand while reaching for napkins with the other, looking absolutely horrified. "I wasn't watching where I was going," he says, grabbing a huge stack of napkins and trying to clean up the coffee that's spreading across my table. "I'm such an idiot. Is your drawing okay?" I snatch my sketchbook away from the liquid just in time. It's fine. I'll buy you another coffee," he says immediately. "Please, I feel terrible." And here's where I should have asked his name, should have figured out who he was, but I don't. I just see this tall, apologetic, unfairly attractive guy offering to buy me coffee, and I say, "You really don't have to do that." "I want to," he says, and when he smiles, my brain short-circuits a little. So I let him buy me another coffee, and then he asks if he can sit down, and I say yes. We talk for almost 3 hours, 3 entire hours. He tells me his name is Chris, and he's a senior at Westbrook. He's vice president of his school's honor society, and he's on the football team, safety position. I tell him I'm Hazel, I'm a senior at Central, and I'm really into art. We talk about college applications and how stressful they are, about how much pressure there is to be perfect all the time, about our favorite books. We both love Brandon Sanderson, which makes us talk for like 20 minutes about Mistborn and Stormlight Archive. He's funny, like genuinely funny, not trying too hard funny. And when I talk, he actually listens, asks follow-up questions, remembers details. When I finally check my phone, I have 8 texts from Joseph asking where I am, and 1 from my mom asking about dinner. "I have to go," I say, and I'm genuinely disappointed. "Can I get your number?" Chris asks. "I'd really like to talk to you again." I hesitate for maybe half a second before I give it to him. It's not until I'm in my car, pulling out of the parking lot, that my brain finally catches up. "Chris, Westbrook, senior, football." Oh no. Oh no. My phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number. "This is Chris from the coffee shop. I had a really great time talking to you today. Would you want to hang out again sometime?" I stare at the message for a full minute. This is Joseph's rival, his competition, the person he complains about at every single meal, the guy who's ruining his future. I should delete the number. I should block him. I should pretend this never happened. Instead, I save his contact as Quinn's cousin and text back, "I'd love that. I am absolutely going to hell." The next week is complete torture. Chris texts me every single day. Nothing too intense, just little things. Funny memes about college applications, questions about my art, photos of terrible coffee shop pastries, and I text back because I literally cannot help myself. Every time my phone buzzes and I see his name, my heart does this stupid fluttery thing that I both hate and love. Joseph notices I'm on my phone more than usual. "Who are you texting?" he asks one night while we're both at the kitchen table doing homework. "Just Quinn," I lie, not even looking up from my calculus. "You're smiling at your phone like a weirdo," Joseph says. "Mind your business," I shoot back. He laughs and goes back to his AP government reading, and I feel guilty for about 3 seconds before Chris texts me a photo of his neighbor's cat stuck in a tree, and I forget why I was supposed to feel bad. Chris asks if I want to meet up again. I know I shouldn't. I know this is possibly the worst idea I've ever had. I know I'm betraying my brother just by considering it. I say yes anyway. We meet at a park halfway between our schools, far enough from both that we probably won't run into anyone we know. It's late afternoon on a Saturday, and the sun's doing that golden thing where everything looks like it belongs in a movie. Chris is already there when I arrive, sitting on a bench reading a book, and when he sees me, his entire face lights up. "Hey," he says, standing up and putting the book in his backpack. "Hey," I say back, and suddenly I'm nervous in a way I wasn't over text. We start walking on this path that loops around the park. He asks about my art class, and I show him photos of my recent drawings. He shows me this essay he's been working on for his Stanford application. It's about growing up as the son of immigrants and feeling pressure to succeed for his whole family. "That's really personal," I say softly. "Yeah, I don't usually share this stuff," he glances at me, "but you're easy to talk to." My heart does that stupid flutter thing again. We end up sitting on a bench by this pond, and the conversation gets heavier. He tells me about the pressure he feels, how everyone expects him to be perfect, how his parents work insane hours so he can have opportunities they never had, how he's terrified of letting them down. Sometimes I feel like if I'm not the best at everything, then what's the point of me? He says quietly. That's a lot to carry, I whisper. It is, he looks at me, but talking to you makes it feel lighter somehow. I don't know what to say to that, so I just squeeze his hand. We talk for another hour about everything, about dreams and fears and the future, about how scary it is to not know what comes next, about how exhausting it is to always be competing. There's something I need to tell you though, I finally say, because I have to. I can't keep lying by omission. My brother, he goes to Central too. He's a senior. Chris nods. That's cool. What's his name? I take a deep breath. Joseph? Joseph Riley? The change is immediate. Chris goes very still. Joseph Riley? Yeah. Oh, he stares at the pond. Wow, okay. I'm guessing you know him, I say quietly. We compete against each other, Chris says carefully. At quiz bowl, debate, academic competitions. We're not friends. I know, I say. He talks about you all the time, about how you beat him at regionals, about the research program, about everything. Chris closes his eyes. I'm sure he has a lot of opinions about me. What actually happened at regionals? I ask. At the quiz bowl championship? He's quiet for a long moment. When he finally speaks, his voice is different. I didn't mean to embarrass him, he says. We were both competing hard, and my team won by 3 points. It was close. Really close. After the tournament, I went to shake his hand, and he just walked away. Wouldn't even look at me. And apparently he's been telling people I was gloating and being a jerk about it, which he shakes his head. I wasn't. I was just happy we won. I wasn't trying to make him feel bad. I believe him. Something about the way he says it, the genuine confusion in his voice, makes me believe him. So this is complicated, I say. Yeah, he finally looks at me again. Does he know you're here? With me? No, and he can't know. He would absolutely lose it. Right. We sit in silence for a minute. This is where I should end it. Where I should walk away. Where I should choose my brother over this guy I barely know. I don't want to stop talking to you, Chris says quietly. My chest tightens. I don't want to stop talking to you either. Even though it's complicated? Even though he reaches over and takes my hand, lacing his fingers through mine, and it feels like every single nerve in my body just woke up. Then we'll figure it out, he says. That's how it starts. That's how I end up with a secret boyfriend that my brother can never, ever know about. The next month is simultaneously the best and worst time of my entire life. Best because Chris is incredible. He's smart and funny and kind, and he actually listens when I talk. He remembers tiny details I mention in passing. He asks about my art constantly. He sends me songs he thinks I'll like. When we're together, everything else disappears and it's just us. Worst because I'm lying to everyone. To Joseph, obviously. But also to my parents, to my best friend Quinn. I haven't told anyone the truth about who I'm seeing. I make up excuses constantly. Study group, art project, coffee with Quinn, library research. I'm terrified every single time I leave the house that someone's going to see us together and my entire world is going to explode. We meet up whenever we can, always far from anyone who might recognize us. Different parks, coffee shops and neighborhoods neither of us usually go to. Once, we drove 30 minutes to a movie theater in a town where nobody would know us. I feel guilty constantly. Every single time Joseph mentions Chris, which is still often, I feel like the worst sister in the world. Every time I lie to my parents about where I'm going, I hate myself a little bit more. But then Chris texts me or I see him and all that guilt melts away because being with him feels right in a way I've never experienced before. One night, we're sitting in his car in an empty parking lot behind a closed grocery store. We've been driving around for 2 hours just talking, and he tells me about his little sister. Her name's Ivy. She's 8, he says, pulling up photos on his phone. She's obsessed with dinosaurs, like knows every single species, can pronounce their scientific names, the whole thing. That's adorable, I say, looking at the photos. She has the same dark hair and hazel eyes as Chris. My parents work a lot, so I pick her up from school most days, help her with homework, make her dinner. She's basically my best friend. He smiles. She wants to be a paleontologist when she grows up. You're a good brother, I say softly. I try. He's quiet for a second. That's part of why football and academics matter so much. If I get a good scholarship, I can help my family, make things easier for my parents, maybe save some money for Ivy's college fund. That's a lot of pressure, I whisper. Yeah, he looks at me. Your brother probably thinks I'm this arrogant person who loves the attention and competition, but honestly, I'm just trying to take care of my family, trying to make my parents proud, trying to prove that all their sacrifices were worth it. I reach over and squeeze his hand. For what it's worth, I think you're pretty amazing. He looks at me for a long moment, and there's something in his expression that makes my breath catch. You make everything feel lighter, he says quietly. Like when I'm with you, I can just breathe, be myself. Not the straight A student everyone expects. Not the football player or the quiz bowl competitor, just Chris. I feel the same way, I whisper. He leans closer. Can I kiss you? I nod, and when his lips meet mine, it's gentle and perfect, and everything I didn't know I was waiting for. My first real kiss. And it's with the one person I'm not supposed to be with. When we pull apart, he's smiling. I'm in so much trouble, he says. What do you mean? I'm falling for you, he says simply, like really falling. My heart is racing so fast I can barely breathe. Good, I say, because I'm falling for you too. Everything changes after that night. We're not just secretly hanging out anymore. We're together. Actually together. And it's incredible and terrifying all at once. We text constantly. He sends me good morning texts every single day. I send him photos of my drawings. We FaceTime late at night when everyone else is sleeping. We make plans to meet up whenever we can steal time away. But the lies get more elaborate. The close calls get closer. One day, Joseph almost sees Chris's contact photo flash on my phone. I'd saved it under Quinn's cousin, but the photo shows up when he calls. I manage to decline fast enough, but my hands shake for 10 minutes afterward. Another time, I'm having lunch with Chris at a restaurant 20 minutes from home, and I see Marissa from my calculus class walk in with her family. I immediately duck my head and pull up my hood, and Chris notices. What's wrong, he asks. Someone from school, I whisper. We sit there frozen, barely breathing, for what feels like an hour until Marissa and her family finally leave. The entire time, my heart pounds so hard I feel sick. This is really stressful for you, Chris says after they're gone. It's worth it, I insist. Is it? He looks worried. I hate that you have to be scared all the time, that you have to hide like this. I'm not scared, I lie. But I am scared. Terrified, actually. Because the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to be when Joseph finds out. And he will find out eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Things almost completely fall apart. There's a huge regional quiz bowl tournament, the championship, Central versus Westbrook. Joseph's been preparing for weeks, staying up late studying obscure historical facts and scientific terms. He's obsessed with winning this one. If we beat Westbrook, we qualify for state, he keeps saying. And Chris Martinez won't be able to say he's better than me anymore. I tell Chris I can't text him the day of the tournament. Too risky. Joseph will be watching me too closely. The tournament is at a neutral high school about 40 minutes away. My parents go to watch. I tell them I have an art project due and need to stay home to work on it, but I can't focus on art. I'm too anxious. Around 4 in the afternoon, my phone explodes with texts from Joseph. We lost by 2 points. Chris got the final question. Of course he did. I can't believe this. Everything is ruined. I stare at the messages, my stomach sinking. Another text comes in, from Chris. I know I'm not supposed to text, but I needed to hear your voice. Today was intense. I glance at my door. My parents aren't home yet. Joseph's probably still at the tournament. I call Chris. Hey, he answers immediately and he sounds exhausted. Hey, you okay? Yeah, that was brutal. Your brother was really going for it today. Who won? I ask, even though I already know. We did, by 2 points, came down to the final question. He pauses. Joseph looked devastated. I tried to shake his hand after, but he wouldn't even look at me. My heart breaks a little. I'm sorry, I whisper. Don't apologize, it's not your fault. He sighs. It's getting harder. Knowing you're his sister and having to compete against him and act like we've never met. Today he was so intense, and all I could think about was you. How you'd feel if you knew how much he wants to beat me. It messed with my head. I'm sorry, I say again, because I don't know what else to say. I love you, Chris says suddenly. Everything stops. What? I love you, Hazel. I've been wanting to say it for weeks, but I was scared. But after today, I need you to know. I'm in love with you. I'm crying and I don't even know when I started. I love you too, I whisper. So much. We're going to figure this out, he says. I don't know how, but we will. We talk for another 20 minutes, and by the end I feel a little better, a little less guilty. But then my parents and Joseph come home, and I see Joseph's face, and the guilt crashes back twice as hard. He looks destroyed, eyes red, face blotchy. He goes straight to his room without saying anything to anyone. I stand outside his door for 5 minutes, trying to figure out what to say. Finally, I knock. Joseph, go away. Can I come in? Silence. Then, fine. I open the door. He's sitting on his bed, staring at the wall. I heard about the tournament, I say quietly. I'm sorry. 2 points, he says. 2 points, Hazel. And Chris Martinez got the final question like he always does. Like he's always going to do. Because he's better than me. At everything. That's not true. It is true. He looks at me and there's so much pain in his eyes. Every single time we compete, he wins. Quiz bowl, debate, that research program, the football showcase camp. My GPA is 4.0, but his is higher because Westbrook has weighted classes differently. I work so hard, and it doesn't matter because he's always going to be better. I don't know what to say. How can I comfort my brother while dating the person he sees as his enemy? How can I tell him that Chris isn't the villain he thinks he is? You're amazing, Joseph, I finally say. You're going to get into a great college. You're going to do incredible things. This one tournament doesn't define you, but it feels like it does, he says quietly. It feels like everything I've worked for doesn't matter because Chris Martinez exists. I sit next to him on the bed and put my arm around him, and he leans into me like we're little kids again. I'm so tired, he whispers. I'm so tired of competing, of feeling like I'm never good enough. You are good enough, I say firmly. You are more than good enough. We sit like that for a while, and I've never felt more guilty in my entire life. Chris and I meet at our usual spot, a bench by a pond in a park between our houses. I've been thinking, he says, and his tone makes me nervous. About us, about this whole situation. He takes my hand. I don't want to hide anymore. My stomach drops. Chris, I know it's complicated. I know your brother hates me, but I'm in love with you, Hazel, and hiding it is killing me. We can't just tell everyone, I say desperately. I'm not saying we announce it to the whole school tomorrow. I'm just saying, maybe we start small. Tell Quinn, tell my best friend Felix, start preparing for the conversation with your brother. You don't understand how he'll react. Then help me understand. So I tell him everything. About how Joseph's entire identity is wrapped up in being the best. About how he didn't get into his dream summer program and spiraled for weeks. About how much pressure he puts on himself. About how much this rivalry with Chris affects him. I'm not trying to hurt him, Chris says quietly. I'm just trying to do my best, just like he is. I know that, but he doesn't see it that way. We sit in silence for a while. Eventually we're going to have to tell him, Chris finally says. We can't hide forever. I know. And when we do, I'll be there. I'll face him. We'll do it together. I lean my head on his shoulder. How did I get so lucky? I'm the lucky one, he says, kissing the top of my head. That night, I almost tell Quinn everything. We're in her room supposedly studying for our English exam, and she notices I'm distracted. Okay, what's going on with you? She asks. You've been acting weird recently. I'm not weird. You're totally weird. You're always on your phone smiling. You keep making excuses to leave early. You're seeing someone, aren't you? I hesitate. Maybe. Her eyes go wide. What? Since when? Who is it? It's complicated. Does he go to Central? No, he goes to Westbrook. Ooh, a Westbrook boy. Scandalous. She grins. What's his name? I can't do it. I can't tell her it's Chris. Because Quinn knows Joseph. She knows about the rivalry. If I tell her, she might accidentally say something to someone who'll tell Joseph. I'm not ready to talk about it yet, I say. She looks disappointed but doesn't push. Fine. But when you are ready, I want literally all the details. I feel like the worst friend in the world. Chris and I are more careful than ever, but we're also closer than ever. We FaceTime every single night. We've started saying I love you regularly. He tells me about his day, his family, his college application stress. I tell him about my art portfolio, my worries about leaving home, my fears about the future. One night, he says something that makes my heart race. I was thinking, he says through the screen, when we graduate, maybe we could apply to some of the same colleges. Not in a creepy way, just so we have the option to be together, really together. No more hiding. You do that, I ask? Hazel, I'd do anything to be with you. I want that so badly it physically hurts. But first, we have to survive the next few months. We have to keep hiding, keep lying, keep hoping we don't get caught. And then, everything explodes. I tell my parents I'm going to the library to work on college applications. Instead, I drive to Chris's house. His parents are working late, and his little sister is at her friend's house for a sleepover, so we have the place to ourselves. This is risky, really risky, but I'm exhausted from only seeing him in public places where we have to be constantly vigilant. I just want one afternoon where we can be normal. When I get there, he's already started cooking dinner. Spaghetti with homemade sauce and garlic bread. It's simple but thoughtful, and I fall in love with him all over again. We eat on the couch and put on a movie. Well, we start watching a movie. Mostly we talk through it, making fun of the plot holes and laughing at the terrible dialogue. At some point, we end up lying down together, me with my back against his chest, his arms wrapped around me. It's comfortable and warm and perfect. I wish we could do this all the time, I murmur. We will, he says. Eventually, when everything's out in the open and we don't have to hide anymore. Do you really think that'll happen? That Joseph will ever be okay with this? I think people can surprise you. Maybe it'll take time, but I think he'll come around eventually, especially when he sees how happy you are. I want to believe that. I really do. We're talking about summer plans. There's this art intensive I'm thinking of applying to. When we hear it, footsteps on the front porch, a key in the lock, the front door opening. We both freeze. I thought your parents weren't coming home until late, I whisper, panic flooding through me. They're not, Chris says, sitting up quickly. Unless something happened. The door swings open, but it's not his parents. It's Joseph. My brother is standing in Chris's living room holding a notebook, his mouth open in complete shock. For about 5 seconds, nobody moves. Nobody breathes. We just stare at each other. Then Joseph's face transforms. Shock becomes confusion, becomes anger, becomes something I've never seen before. Pure betrayal. What the hell is this, he says, his voice low and dangerous. I stand up, my heart pounding so hard I can't hear anything else. Joseph, I can explain. You're at his house? Joseph's voice gets louder. You're with him? Chris stands up too. Joseph, listen. Don't you dare talk to me, Joseph snaps, pointing at him. Don't you dare. What are you even doing here? I ask, my voice shaking. We have a group project. For AP Governor, Chris is in my online AP Gov class through the community college program. He's speaking fast, words tumbling out. We got assigned together for this presentation on Supreme Court cases. I texted him that I'd drop off my notes today since we're supposed to work on it this weekend. He texted me back with his address and said to just come by whenever. So I came. And I see your car parked out front. Your car, Hazel. The one with the stupid Bernie sticker that you refused to take off. And I thought, no way. There's no possible way. But I had to check. I had to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. Joseph? I start. How long? He interrupts. How long has this been going on? I can't answer. My throat has closed up. 3 months, Chris says quietly, and I want to scream at him to stop talking, but I'm frozen. Joseph laughs, but it's not a real laugh. It's bitter and harsh and painful. 3 months. 3 months you've been lying to me, sneaking around with the one person you knew I couldn't stand, my own sister. You don't understand, I say, finally finding my voice. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Hazel? Explain it to me. Make me understand how you could do this. I didn't mean for it to happen, I say desperately, tears already streaming down my face. I met him by accident. I didn't even know who he was at first. And then we started talking, and he was kind and smart and funny, and you didn't think to tell me? Joseph's voice cracks. The second you realized who he was, you didn't think maybe I deserved to know? I knew you'd react like this. Like what? Like someone who just found out his sister has been lying to him for 3 months? Yeah, Hazel, I'm reacting exactly like anyone would. I haven't betrayed you, I say. But even as I say it, I know it's not true. With him, Joseph says, pointing at Chris again. With the guy who beats me at everything. The guy who makes me feel worthless. The guy who, his voice breaks completely. You chose him over me. No, I say immediately. That's not what this is. How is it not? How is sneaking around with my rival for 3 months not choosing him over me? Because my relationship with Chris has nothing to do with you. I'm practically shouting now. I didn't fall for him to hurt you. I didn't date him to get back at you. I fell for him because he's an amazing person who treats me like I matter and makes me laugh and listens when I talk, and he's my enemy, Hazel. He's not your enemy, I scream. He's a person, a real person with a family and dreams and fears. He's not some villain in your story. You made him into your enemy because you can't handle that someone else is also good at things. The silence that follows is deafening. Joseph stares at me like I've physically struck him. So that's what you think, he says quietly. You think I'm just jealous, just insecure. That's not, I didn't mean, no, you're right. His voice is hollow now. You're absolutely right. I am jealous. I am insecure because I work my ass off every single day and it's never enough. I study until 2 in the morning and I volunteer and I join every club and I push myself to be perfect, and it doesn't matter because Chris Martinez exists and he's better than me at everything. Joseph, Chris starts. I told you not to talk to me, Joseph says, but there's less anger in it now, just exhaustion. I'm going to talk anyway, Chris says firmly, because you need to hear this. I don't have it easy, Joseph. I know it looks that way to you, but I don't. My parents work 2 jobs each. I take care of my little sister every day after school. I work a part-time job on weekends to help with bills. I don't have time for tutors or SAT prep classes or any of that. Every single achievement you think I get easily, I fight for, just like you do. That doesn't change anything, Joseph says. Yes, it does. Because we're not enemies. We're both just kids trying our best, competing against circumstances as much as each other. And I'm sorry if I've made you feel bad. I genuinely am. That was never my intention. You took the research program spot. There were only 5 spots and hundreds of applicants. I got lucky. You beat me at Quiz Bowl every single time because my team practices together 4 days a week. That's it. That's the only reason. Not because I'm smarter than you. Joseph is quiet and I can see him processing this. And Hazel, Chris continues, looking at me, she didn't choose me over you. She's been torn up about this for months, feeling guilty every single day, lying to everyone because she didn't want to hurt you. She loves you, Joseph. You're one of the most important people in her life. This was never about you versus me. It feels like it was, Joseph says quietly. I know, Chris says, and I'm sorry for my part in that. They stare at each other for a long moment. Are you happy? Joseph finally asks, looking at me. With him? Yes, I whisper. So happy, Joseph. Happier than I've ever been. Something shifts in his expression. The anger fades a little, replaced by something more complicated. I need time, he finally says. I can't just be okay with this right now. I need time to process everything. Okay, I say quickly. Take all the time you need. He nods slowly, then, I'm going to leave now. We can work on the project over email. Joseph? Chris starts. Please, Joseph says, just please let me go. Chris nods. Joseph turns and walks toward the door, but before he leaves, he looks back at me. I love you, he says. You're my sister and I love you, but right now I'm really hurt and I need space. I understand, I whisper. He leaves. The door closes, and I completely fall apart. Chris catches me as my legs give out, holding me while I sob. Great, heaving, ugly sobs that shake my entire body. I cry for how much I've hurt my brother. I cry for how badly this went. I cry from relief that the secret's finally out, and from terror about what happens next. I'm so sorry, Chris keeps saying. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, I manage to say between sobs. I should have pushed you to tell him sooner. I should have— No. I pull back and look at him through my tears. This was always going to be awful. At least now we don't have to hide anymore. What do we do now? He asks quietly. I need to go home. I need to talk to him. Do you want me to come with you? No, I think I need to do this alone. He nods, then cups my face in his hands and kisses me gently. I love you. I love you too. We'll get through this. I nod even though I'm not sure I believe it. The drive home is the longest 20 minutes of my entire life. I keep replaying Joseph's face, the hurt in his eyes, the way his voice broke when he said I chose Chris over him. When I get home, Joseph's car is in the driveway. I sit in mine for 5 minutes trying to figure out what to say. Finally, I go inside. Joseph's in his room. I can hear him moving around. I knock softly. Joseph? No answer. Please let me in. After a long moment, the door opens. His eyes are red. Can we talk? I ask. He steps back, letting me in. I sit on his desk chair. He sits on his bed. I'm sorry, I say. I'm so sorry I lied to you. That I kept this from you. You deserve to know and I should have told you. He doesn't say anything. I was scared, I continue. Scared of exactly this. Scared you'd hate me. Scared I'd lose you. So I just kept it secret. And that was wrong. I know it was wrong. More silence. Please say something, I whisper. Do you really love him? Joseph finally asks. Yes. And he treats you well? He's good to you? He treats me like I'm the most important person in the world. Joseph nods slowly, staring at his hands. I want to hate this. I want to be furious and tell you to break up with him and never see him again. I wouldn't, I say honestly, even if you asked me to. I know. He looks up at me. And that's what kills me. Because I know you, Hazel. I know you wouldn't risk our relationship unless this was real. Unless he was really important to you. My eyes fill with tears again. But I need time, he says. I need time to figure out how to separate my feelings about him from school stuff from my feelings about him dating my sister. Can you give me that? Of course, I say immediately. Take all the time you need. He nods. Then, does he really take care of his little sister every day? Yeah, his parents both work constantly. He picks her up from school, helps with homework, makes dinner. She's obsessed with dinosaurs. That's actually kind of cool, Joseph admits quietly. He's a good person, Joseph. If you got to know him, really know him, I think you'd see that. Maybe, he says. I don't know. Right now, I'm still processing the fact that my sister is dating my academic rival. Despite everything, I almost laugh. Mom and Dad are going to freak out when they find out, Joseph says. Oh God, I forgot about Mom and Dad. You should probably tell them before someone else does. Right, yeah. I take a breath. Are we okay? You and me? I don't know, Joseph says honestly. But I want us to be. Eventually. Me too. We sit there for a minute, and it's not comfortable, but it's not completely terrible either. Joseph? Yeah? Thank you for not making me choose between you. He looks at me for a long moment. You're my sister. I might be mad at you right now, but I'm not going to give you an ultimatum. That's not fair to you. I start crying again, and this time Joseph reaches over and hugs me. We'll figure it out, he says. I don't know how, but we will. The next few weeks are strange and awkward. Joseph and I are speaking again, but it's stilted. Careful. Like we're both afraid of saying the wrong thing. I tell my parents the following Sunday. They're shocked, mostly about the whole rivalry situation, but ultimately they're supportive. As long as he treats you with respect and makes you happy, my dad says, which makes me want to cry. Slowly, very slowly, things start to shift. Chris and I don't have to hide anymore. I can post photos with him. I can tell Quinn everything. She loses her absolute mind when I explain it all. We can go on real dates without constantly looking over our shoulders. And Joseph's adjusting. He and Chris still have to work on their AP Gov project together. They meet over Zoom a few times, and according to Joseph, it's weird, but not terrible. One day, about 3 weeks after everything exploded, I come home to find Joseph at the kitchen table filling out some kind of form. What's that, I ask. Registration for the new D&D club starting at the community college, he says, not looking up. They're doing it as like an inter-school thing. Students from different high schools can join. Since when do you play D&D? Since freshman year. I just never told anyone because it's not exactly the perfect student activity. He finally looks at me. I've been playing online campaigns with people I met on Reddit. Joseph, that's so cool. Why didn't you tell me? He shrugs. I don't know. I guess I thought it didn't fit the image. Screw the image, I say firmly. You should do things that make you happy. Yeah, well, that's what my therapist says too. You're seeing a therapist? After everything that happened, I realized I needed to talk to someone about the pressure I put on myself. He shifts uncomfortably. It's helping. I feel my eyes getting wet. I'm proud of you. Thanks, he says quietly. Anyway, the first D&D session is on Wednesday. I'm actually kind of excited. Wednesday comes and Joseph leaves for his D&D session around 6. He comes home 3 hours later looking happy. Actually happy. How was it? I ask from the couch where I'm working on my art portfolio. Really fun. There's 12 people total. Good mix of experience levels. He pauses. Chris was there. I freeze. What? Yeah. Apparently he's been playing D&D since middle school. He's the DM for his regular group at Westbrook. Joseph sits down on the couch next to me. We talked a little bit after. About the game. About character builds. He's actually really knowledgeable. Oh, I say, afraid to hope. And then we talked about other stuff. About college applications. About the football showcase camp. Turns out he's as nervous about it as I am. About feeling like we constantly have to prove ourselves. He's quiet for a second. He's not as bad as I thought. My heart feels like it might burst. Really? Really? I mean, I'm not saying we're best friends now or anything. It's still weird. But he's okay. And he clearly cares about you a lot. He asked if you were doing okay after everything that happened. Made sure you weren't too stressed. I'm crying now, happy tears this time. Don't cry, Joseph says, but he's smiling a little. You're going to make me feel bad. I'm just really happy, I say. Yeah, well, don't get used to it. I'm still not thrilled about this whole situation. But you're trying. I'm trying, he agrees. I attend Joseph's football showcase camp. Yes, he got in after all, watching him run drills with other players from around the state. Chris is there too, on the other side of the field. They're not on the same team for the scrimmage, and I watch them play against each other. It's intense, competitive, but it's different now. There's respect in it. Sportsmanship. After the scrimmage, they both jog over to where I'm sitting on the bleachers. Nice interception, Chris says to Joseph. Thanks. Good throw on that touchdown, Joseph responds. They're both sweaty and exhausted and smiling. There's a D&D session tomorrow, Chris says. We're starting a new campaign. You in? Yeah, definitely, Joseph says. What time? 7, at the community college. Cool, I'll be there. They do this weird bro handshake half hug thing, and then Chris comes to sit next to me while Joseph goes to talk to one of the coaches. That was weird, I say. Good weird or bad weird? Chris asks. Good weird, definitely good weird. He takes my hand, right there in public where anyone can see, and kisses my knuckles. We did it. Did what? Made it through. Together. I lean my head on his shoulder. Yeah, we did. Is it perfect? No. Joseph and Chris probably won't ever be best friends. There are still moments of tension, still times when the old rivalry feelings bubble up. But they're both trying. Really trying. Joseph's been going to therapy and learning to separate his self-worth from his achievements. He got into 3 amazing colleges and chose one that felt right for him, not just the most prestigious. He's still president of multiple clubs and still gets perfect grades, but he's also joined the D&D club and lets himself have fun sometimes. Chris got a full ride to a state school where he can study engineering and play football. His family cried when he got the news. He's still taking care of Ivy, still working hard, but he's also letting himself be happy without guilt. And me? I'm still making art, still falling more in love with Chris every day, still navigating the complicated but beautiful reality of my brother and my boyfriend, slowly becoming something like friends. The D&D group decides to have a campaign marathon at Chris's house on a Saturday. I'm in Chris's room working on a drawing while they play in the living room, and I can hear them through the door. Roll for initiative, Chris says in his DM voice. Dice clatter. Natural 20, Joseph shouts, and everyone cheers. I peek out and see them all sitting around the coffee table, completely absorbed in the game. Joseph and Chris are sitting next to each other, both grinning, and my heart feels so full it might explode. Chris catches my eye and winks. This is my life now, dating my brother's former rival, who's now, well, maybe not his best friend, but definitely not his enemy. It's messy and complicated and not at all what I expected, but it's real, and it's mine, and I wouldn't change a single thing.